My name is Phil Owens. I'm a professor in the Department of Geography, Earth and Environmental Science at UNBC, and I'm also the Research Chair in Landscape Ecology with Professor Ellen Pettigrew. And welcome to the Quesnel River Research Centre, which is one of UNBC's research facilities. About 20 years ago, it changed from a Department of Fisheries and Oceans inland hatchery to a research facility now managed by the university. It's one of several research facilities, but this one is unique in that it's focused very much on watershed science and aquatic science. We're very blessed to be in a beautiful part of the world. The watershed, the Quesnel watershed, is about 11,500 square kilometers in size. It starts in the Cariboo Mountains, which are about 3,000 meters in elevation, and then the watershed has a very large lake within the middle of it, the Quesnel Lake, which is one of the deepest lakes in North America, just over 500 meters in depth and about 90 kilometers in length. And then the watershed flows down to the small community of the city of Quesnel, and then it's confluent with the Fraser River. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about the research activities that we've been doing in the watershed generally, and particularly we're going to talk to and use the students, the undergraduate students, the graduate students and the research associates that are working here on various different research projects to help explain some of the activities that we're doing in the watershed. And perhaps one of the most important ones of those is that in 2014 there was a catastrophic failure of a local mine. The tailings pond released about 25 million cubic meters of solids and water into the environment, and a large amount of that went into Quesnel Lake. So since 2014, a large amount of the activities that we've been focusing on, particularly the graduate students, the undergraduates and research assistants, has been trying to address the environmental impacts of that spill on the environment.
Hi, my name is Gabby. I'm a master's student here at the Quesnel River Research Centre, and right now we're standing at the end of the West Basin on Quesnel Lake. This is where we start all of our research. It's obviously a very beautiful place, and this area offers so many different opportunities for different research topics. My project in particular is relating to a mine spill that happened back in 2014, and we're looking at some of the different effects that are now happening from that spill. In particular, I'm interested in looking at the levels of phosphorus and the different sort of ecosystem interactions that are happening as a result of that. And so just over here we have our boat. We call it the Matthews. This is where we do most of our sampling out of on the lake. It's a rugged little thing because the waves here can get quite big. But yeah, it's a beautiful spot. It's always a nice time to be out on Quesnel Lake.
Hello physical geographers, we're here on Quesnel Lake, where behind me in 2014 the world's largest ever mine tailing spill into a lake occurred in August. So that's August 2014, coming on 7 years ago now, and for that last 7 years we've been out collecting data to see how the lake has responded to this insult. So one of the main tools of the trade that we use is this device here, which is a CTD. CTD stands for conductivity, temperature, and depth. It's going to measure those three things, and it's also going to measure dissolved oxygen, turbidity, which is the cloudiness of the water, and fluorimetry, that's not a word, fluorescence, which is an indication of how much algae is growing in the water column. So, first thing I'm going to do when I go to do a profile is got a nice big on-off switch here, and I'm going to slide that into the on position, and then I'm going to slide this into the water very carefully, and it's going to bubble away for a moment. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Water comes through this pumped line, it reaches a temperature sensor, and past that it goes through a cell, a little tube that, depending on how salty the water is, will measure a different frequency, which then later on the computer will tell you what that frequency means in terms of how much dissolved stuff is in the lake. And we want to let that vibration, that frequency, come to a nice, steady, equalized point before we do a profile. I think that was wordy enough that by now it should have happened. The old YouTube expression is let's jump right in, but in this case, let's not. I'm lifting it right up to the surface, and now slow, steady, lowering it down through the water column. Now my Captain Jojo, is going to tell me where I am and how far I am. 5 more meters. Now I'm going to slow down a little bit, getting to the bottom because I don't want to drop it right in at max speed. And that would be a good time to introduce myself. I'm Brody Granger, and UNBC has hired me as a research associate to continue with some of the work that I started in a master's, where I was looking at how much sediment got introduced to the lake during the spill and how long that's going to take to flush out down the river right over there. Okey-doke. So we got lucky, it didn't fall off the line. I'm going to turn it off, do a quick check to make sure we didn't get any mud in there, and without any further ado, we can move on to our next sample, and call that a wrap.
So we have another sampler here. It's perhaps a little less high-tech as the CTD that Brody just showed you, but it's another really useful tool we have out at the Quesnel River Research Centre. This is called a Van Dorn. This one is horizontal, and it grabs water sample from different levels in the water column. And so you just get it set up like this. And it's on a rubber line in here, which holds these ends open. And so then I'm going to put it in the water column, and then what I do is at a certain depth, which we've got marked on the rope, I'll hold it there and then drop this messenger, which I can hold it up here. This is what it does when it drops. Closes at a certain depth, and then you've got a really lovely water sample that you've collected.
Not a bad day at the office, eh, Gabby?
Yeah, no kidding.
It is a nice place to get to hang out and to work on things that we actually really care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as unfortunate as the mine spill was, it does really offer a lot of opportunities for really cool research and a lot of places to learn.
It was a hugely instructive incident. I mean, if you say you want to run an experiment where you dump several 100,000 tons of sediment into a lake, people usually get a little bit testy, but if it just happens, then why not study it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the UNBC is really, it's got a real gem down here at the QRRC, and yeah, it's pretty cool, so maybe we'll be able to show you guys some more stuff that we do in the lab later on.
Yeah, should we head back down to the research station and check out some of the things going on in the lab there?
One of the really unique things about the facility compared to most other research, aquatic research facilities, is that we're blessed by having a range of outdoor flumes. So when this used to be a Department of Fisheries and Ocean hatchery, these were used to raise Chinook eggs, Chinook salmon. Now we repurpose them to do a range of field experiments relating to physical geography, particularly related to fluvial geomorphology. So for example, some of the work that we've been doing is looking at how fine sediment and organic material moves through river channels and may get deposited into river gravels. Some of the other work, for example, you may see a large section with a covering over the bottom end at the far end. That's related to work looking at how bridge piers, for example, cause scouring of the river channel at the bottom of the channel bed. And we have a professor at the university, Zhui Sui, who's been doing experiments looking at how, if you put an ice cover, how that creates maybe increased erosion around bridge piers and scour of the channel bottom. And then some of the other work that we've been doing is, for example, putting in fish, for example, and seeing how they might move and hide within a river channel environment. Now, although at the moment you can see that these are dry, you can see, for example, what would be artificial river gravels at the bottom. We're very privileged here by being an old hatchery, and that we have an amazing supply of groundwater. So we have some industrial groundwater pumps, which are just over to my right here. What they do is they feed these large taps, so we can switch these on and basically allow water to fill up the channels and then to flow through as if it would be a natural river system. So it's a really unique set of facilities. We have 6 of them in a row. They run for about 60 meters or so they are quite unique, and I can't think of anywhere else in the country that has them. So a great asset for an aquatic physical geography field station like the QRRC.
Hi there, I'm Tatiana. I'm an undergrad student at UNBC. I've been studying biology in my undergrad. And yeah, so today we're down at the Quesnel River at the Research Centre, and I'm just going to be doing a turbidity test with this probe. And so I'm just going to come and put it in the water. So we're reading at about 0.75 today. That's a little bit up from yesterday. It was about 0.5 yesterday, which it makes sense because we've had quite a bit of rain the last few days, so it's kind of been mixing stuff up and bringing more stuff down the river.
Now we're back in the lab, and one of the really great things about the center is that we've got access to all of our field sites. They're really close by in our lakes and rivers and streams, and we bring all of these samples back here and we are able to do certain analyses on them. So some of the things that we do are running chlorophyll analyses using the fluorometer. We also do particle size analysis using the mastersizer. We also have a in-field particle size analyzer called the LIST. So we do a whole bunch of different things on site, which is really convenient and really helpful for us. And another thing we do here is we run different courses for undergrads. And so we bring students down from the UNBC, and they're able to get hands-on and practical experience out of the center too, which is a really great opportunity for those students.
Thanks so very much for watching this virtual field trip on behalf of the Department of Geography, Earth and Environmental Sciences, and obviously to thank you for listening to the research activities we do here at the Quesnel River Research Centre, and also the ability that we have to run undergraduate courses here. It's a unique opportunity, and thanks very much again for watching this virtual video.